doubt is a very powerful way of thinking, a very powerful course to follow. And eventually I came to the conclusion that what I was doubting about, I had a more firmer opinion about. My religion started on the moment that I was born. They're in a religious family and baptised in the Calvinist Protestant church in the Netherlands. And then in 1956 we moved to Australia, and they'd set up a Dutch church, which is very interesting because it's sort of insular, isn't it? It's if they'd been Catholics, they would have had to join the English-speaking church. But so we moved through that Dutch community into Dandenong. They had a Dutch community. Meanwhile, I'm outside being educated in English schools and went art school, which was a bit of a there was a bit of upset about that, whether Christians should go to art school. Not in my family. My family were strangely liberal, so why they stuck with it, I really don't know.
Too much tea!
Lion in the cupboard and a hippo in the swimming pool. There's a panda in the kitchen and he's sitting on my favorite stool.
And I met Elizabeth, we got married in the Presbyterian church, but all the while at the back of my head I thought, this is good because of the values that it expresses and the intentions behind it. And but then I met a man called Sidney Carter, who wrote, most people would know him through the song Lord of the Dance, to which he is still spinning in his grave because they thought he was a hymn writer, when in fact he was quite the opposite. He called himself God's loyal opposition, and he worked with that all his life. You know, what if? He stood on the rock of doubt, and I stood on the rock of doubt and fell off. I just got to a point where I thought, this is really no longer necessary. Doubt is a very powerful, it's not skepticism, doubt is a very powerful way of thinking, a very powerful course to follow. And eventually I came to the conclusion that what I was doubting about, I had a more firmer opinion about. I find my life meaningful through my music and through my art. I wore the mask of a baby, curly hair, teddy bear. I wore the mask of a schoolboy for all the world to see. It's very hard to walk away from something which you've grown up with, you know, especially something like religion. It's very difficult to sort of put that aside because you think you're going to lose something when in fact you don't. It was difficult because I was in a very caring, a very loving, a very funny family. There were all the usual family problems, but a father who had a very difficult time during the war. He was in forced labour. My mother, who survived the war, while he was in forced labour, she survived the war in the Netherlands during the hunger winter. And yet we're a very joyful family. I think the one that got the most comfort out of religion was my mother, and so she encouraged it. And we had some real good sharing times because of that. It wasn't until I really left home, got married, had a partner, and we, both of us felt the same way, went on this road of discovery. Again, we met Sidney Carter, we met a whole lot of really interesting religious people who, during that time, the early 70s, were all, you know, this is the honest to God era, were troubled with not troubled, but were juggling with the same concepts. But I decided that I was just as content without having to relate to God or religion. There's no shame in saying I don't have a religion. I have poetry, I have music, I have all art, all those things, but you don't need to make a religion out of that.